Hi everyone, it's John. What up? Welcome back to another video. And folks, I have a special treat for you today. Yes, I was able to sit down with Luke Fetherston last week and ask him some questions. Yes, that Luke Fetherston. Gawyn Trakand himself, my absolute favorite character in the series. It was the highlight of my year, folks. So if you love the Wheel of Time, or if you just want to keep up with all of the news surrounding the series and surrounding all of the new and upcoming Wheel of Time projects, consider making us your home for Wheel of Time news. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and of course, tell all your friends. Yes, Gawyn Trakand is my absolute favorite character. That may come as a surprise to some of you who are newer to the channel, but I have the tattoos to prove it, and he's always been my absolute favorite character. So much so that I had to do a whole hour-long video on the whys and the hows of it, but we'll get into that after the interview, and we'll talk just a bit about why I love him so much as a character, even though he's not well-liked by a lot of the fandom. Now, watch at the end of the interview for a little surprise that Luke gives me. I thought it was super cool, and it absolutely made my day. So let's get into that right now. Hey, how's it going, Luke? How are you?
John, so good to finally meet you. So excited.
Same. This is
Uh,
awesome.
yeah,
This is great.
so
Like,
much fun.
I never thought this would happen, so this is fantastic.
It's amazing, John. Lovely to meet you.
So I have a bunch of questions, but we only
Yes.
have a few minutes, so we'll get through as many of them as we can, I guess. But
Yeah.
first off, I want to thank you so much for portraying Gawyn on screen. You did an absolutely bang up job, man. Like fantastic. I don't know what to say other than the fact that you completely embodied the character on screen. Probably not in real life, I would hope, but definitely on screen. And like most of my people that watch, they understand that Gawyn's my favorite character. So this is super cool.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so my first question has to be this.
Yeah.
In the real time fandom, Gallon's basically viewed as a meme. Like he 100%
Mm.
is. Did you know how he was perceived in the fandom before you auditioned or took the role?
No, John, I did not. So I did not. I didn't know who I was auditioning for in the Wheel of Time. I had a suspicion that I was auditioning for the Wheel of Time, so I'd managed to watch the whole of the first series.
Okay.
And it was a code name. It was something like Guron, and I was desperately looking for this role, and I was like, "Who is it?" Anyway, I then landed the role and got a one-page brief of his whole arc throughout the series. Typed in Garwin to Google, and then was quickly slammed to the floor in a fandom. So yeah, as soon as I saw that, I mean, obviously, John, you can imagine the panic that set in, but I found your video. I found your video and I was like, yes, one person likes Garwin. And I was so thrilled. I was literally like, it doesn't matter because John likes Garwin. But to be honest, John, as soon as I found the noise, I quickly made the decision to stop reading because I wanted fresh eyes on the role and I didn't want to
Mhm.
take any preconceived ideas of what people thought of Garwin. And I've mentioned this before, but as an actor, it's not certainly not my job to judge Garwin's motivations, but to approach them with the nuance that they deserve. So I very quickly stopped reading after that first hour of initial panic. And then, the scripts came in and I kind of got to work. So
So you mentioned that you stopped reading, so you don't know his arc throughout the series, I would assume, or do you at this point?
I do, yes. Sorry, I meant I stopped reading the comments on
Oh.
Garwin. You know what I mean? Yeah, I stopped with that. I was like, let's not look at any more videos of why Garwin is the worst character in the world. It's like I'm going to avoid them. But in terms of the arc, yes, I'm aware of what happens. Yeah. So
So that actually leads to my next question here. So, Gowon's book arc is just a tragedy of overconfidence, main character syndrome, just all kinds of things wrapped up in one.
mm.
And you sowed the seeds beautifully this season. You really did. Like you started that a little bit. Are you looking forward to the eventual payoff of some of those things later on down the road?
Oh, very much so. The possibilities are so alluring to me. Obviously, I really don't know what's going to happen. And that's not, I really don't know, but I'm hopeful that Garwin's character is developed and, you know, it would be wonderful to lead a final battle. It would be wonderful to kind of explore the relationship with the grain, and perhaps come face to face with Rand. There's so many possibilities that are just, yeah, really exciting.
That'd be awesome. So, you mentioned a bit of how you prepared for the role of Gowan, and you went online for a little bit, but then you just stopped reading the
Mm,
comments about him. For this
mm,
season, we did get to see him fight Matt Cawthon with Glad, played by Callum Kerr. What
mm.
did you do to prepare for that? Like, how long did you have to prepare the swordsmanship and the choreography for that? That must have taken quite some time.
It did. It did. I think we were pretty much training every single day, definitely every day for an hour for about 10 weeks. Um, and I think it was really important for me. John, I've never thrown a punch in my life or held a sword. So I was like, I've got work to do. So it was really, really important to me that I kind of mastered his like martial prowess and, made it look like I was like the number one swordsman, um, first prince of the sword. So I worked a lot with the stunts team. I have a background in dance, which I found quite helpful in terms of the choreography. So that was a benefit that I tried to use. And, there was no need for a stunt double because I was capable of that. But making it look like these boys were, you know, skilled swordsmen was an absolute priority for us.
Oh,
Um,
100%.
yeah. So, and because otherwise it was beautiful that in episode two, you kind of get that the brothers play fighting in the arena and then the payoff of them getting absolutely battered by Matt. Like, had you not seen them, showing off and peacocking around, it perhaps wouldn't have landed so hard in episode three. I hope you agree.
Oh, no,
Um,
100%. Yes.
yeah, it was. I think that was yeah beautifully written by the team. Yeah, really great.
I did like that they split like as you said, the peacocking and them showing off versus the actual fight later on because it did make it hit that much harder when they just got their butts handed to them. It was super good.
Totally. It was such a lesson in humility, wasn't it? And it was, yeah, everyone was cheering for Matt, and I'm pleased they were. So,
I guarantee you, anyone who's read the books, watched that scene, they kind of, I suspect, would know what would happen.
yeah.
And they're all just on the edge of their seats waiting, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thrilled for the fans, honestly.
So I do have another question for you. Your favorite on-set story. So you get to be on set with a ton of very talented people,
Mm,
and a wide variety of people that do theater, that have backgrounds
mm.
in film and TV. So what is your favorite behind-the-scenes story? Like what thing did you like the
Oh,
most?
gosh. I mean, it's hard to say. There are so many. I think the powerhouse women that we had, I mean, especially, on Andor's arrival at the White Tower, that kind of tennis match between Olivia and Sophie was, I mean, the tension was palpable. It was just so, and Showa was there as well. Absolutely incredible getting to watch them work. You know, it was just, it was just such a gift. Um, um, and I've worked a lot with Kate Fleetwood before, so being with her again was wonderful. And I guess also something I may highlight is that Kira very kindly took Callum, Olivia, and I out to dinner before we all were on set together. So we had like this beautiful evening that Kira had organized where the whole Andor family had dinner together and bonded and talked about Olivia's incredible career. It was amazing. That was really great as well.
That that is cool. I did not know that you folks all got together beforehand, which is
Yeah.
kind of dangerous, I guess, considering the fandom that we have and the people that are watching everywhere all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we were in Prague and we were in, this kind of beautiful downstairs kind of restaurant, but but yes, the fans, I don't know how they did it, but they found me quite early, which blew my mind. It was crazy. So great.
So we only have about a minute left, but before we go, I
Mm,
do want to thank you again for your portrayal, Gown, on screen, and I want to let you know that as pretty much the only person in the Gown fan club, I'm sure there might be someone else out there, but there's very few. You absolutely nailed the role. You did 100%. I couldn't have asked for anything more in seeing my favorite character on screen. Like you did a fantastic job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him later on, if it's possible.
Well, thank you, John. I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna quickly, just in honor of what up, I'm just gonna really quickly put this on to show.
That's
I
awesome.
thank you for this.
That's so cool.
Hopefully the fans like this. If they don't like Gawyn, they can like this.
Well, they certainly love you even if they don't love Gawyn. So there's that.
Oh, okay.
I will. Thank you so much for this again today. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and your other interviews.
Cheers, John. Thanks so much. Nice to meet
All right, thanks a lot. Bye bye.
you.
All right, so I'll let you folks know I didn't know he was going to do that at the end when he pulled out the What Up sweater and chucked it on. Blew me away. You could tell I was kind of grinning ear to ear. And when I finished the interview, I came out of this and I was like, you know what? I've reached the pinnacle of what I can achieve as What Up. I've talked to the actor playing my favorite character in a television show. I was able to ask them some questions, and then they wore my merch. So I can retire. I can retire happy. Now, it's not going to happen. I really love making videos. I'm going to keep making videos because I enjoy it. But that's how I felt when I came out of that. It was just such a surreal feeling. Now, I know that a lot of you out there who are new to the channel, especially in the last few months, and we've had probably 6,000 or 7,000 new faces in the last couple of months joining the channel, you're probably wondering, well, John, Gawyn's your favorite character? Yeah, he's not well-liked by the fandom at all. He's not well-liked because of his actions, the things he does, because he does a lot of terrible things in the book series. But I love him for a couple of different reasons. I did a whole video here in the channel. It's about an hour long, and Luke mentions it during the interview, where I go through his arc in the books, and I talk about why I love him so much and why he is the way he is. But the Cole's notes of it is this. Gawyn is well written. He is probably, in my opinion, one of the best written characters in the entire story because he's true to how he should be. He's a young man. He's emotionally immature. He comes from an affluent background. He was raised as first prince of the sword. He hasn't really dealt with much hardship. So, of course, he has that main character syndrome. He's royalty. He's a blade master. He is, in his own mind, incredibly important. So, of course, everyone should be reacting to things he does. But he's not Ta'veren. In fact, he's not even close to that. He's not even Ta'veren adjacent. He is just a small part in a much larger story. So everything he does, if he was the main character, would have probably worked out just fine. But he's not. And he reacts and does things in the story based on pure emotion. He doesn't think. He doesn't use logic. He doesn't use reasoning. He doesn't look ahead. I think I've called him here a beautiful idiot on the channel a couple of different times, and that's absolutely true. And I think during the audition scripts for him, that's what Rafe Judkins had put in the audition script. He is all emotion, just pure 100% emotion. And he's tempered by his siblings. So you have Galad Damodred, who is the exact opposite of Gawyn. He is all logic, all justice, all what is right. Gawyn's just emotion. Then you have Elaine, who is the best parts of both of them combined together to make sort of really the only whole person in this trinity of Andoran royalty, and she's the one that's going to rule. So she takes the best aspects of Gawyn and the best aspects of Galad and her own personality, and she is the best version of who could rule their country. And I thought all of that was really well written. And Gawyn himself, considering he reacts just emotionally to absolutely everything throughout the series, and it ends in disaster, that's how he would react at that age, with that upbringing. And when I was young, I started reading the series when I was 9, I identified with him because I was like, yeah, I would do the same thing, because I was 9. I was just a kid, and I was nowhere near emotionally mature enough to understand why everyone was like just hating on this guy for doing what I would have done. And then as I get a little bit older, I realized, well, no, that's not how a person should act, because I matured. Gawyn never does. And he's the same throughout the entire series, and I love that about him, because the series doesn't happen over a great period of time. And he just kind of keeps those same qualities that he had upbringing, that main character syndrome, that I'm important and everything will work out fine because I'm royalty and I am who I am. And it never does. And I love that about him. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments on Gawyn. I want to hear what you folks think of Gawyn. I know folks don't like him. I know he does a lot of terrible things, and a lot of those things are very spoilery for the series. So if you're going to write things that he does that are spoilery, make sure you tag it with a spoiler warning at the top so people don't inadvertently read comments and get spoiled. Please and thank you. So anyway, thank you so very much for sticking with us here to the very end, folks. Pinnacle of what here? This is it. This is it for me. This is What Up to the extreme. Here's to many more.